Hello, my name is Jessica Sheets, and I work at the Hart Career Center at Illinois Wesleyan University as the administrative specialist. Part of what I do is handle logistics for career fairs, so I'm going to take you through the before, during, and after of our virtual career fair. It's coming up on Monday, September 27th from 4 to 7 p.m. So before the fair, the first thing you need to do is to get into our career services platform that's called Handshake. This is where the virtual fair tool has been developed. What you need to do is log into your account, register for the fair. You can then research attending employers and what internships and job postings they have, and then sign up for group sessions, which are 30 minutes long, or one-on-one meetings, which are 10 minutes long. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through this process on my desktop, but just so that you're aware, the Illinois Wesleyan University app does have Handshake in it. All that you do is log on with your IWU username and password, and then you're good to go. Every IWU student already has a Handshake account, you just have to activate it. Then you're going to go to Events, Career Fair, register for our career fair. Next step would be to look at some sessions. And in this example here, I went to the Peace Corps sessions and signed up for their application workshop that was happening from 6 to 6:30 p.m. that night. So the cool thing about the virtual career fair is that you build your schedule in advance instead of waiting in lines to see employers. So let me show you what that looks like over here. Give me a second, got to get on the correct account here. So Handshake URL is iwu.edu, no, not iwu.edu, iwu.joinhandshake.com. You log in with your NetID and password, and you're good to go. The first time you log in with a new account, you will be prompted to fill out some questions, but now you're here. Our virtual job fair is currently being promoted, but just in case you can't find it on the homepage, you can go to Events, and filter even farther by career fairs. And there you go, there's that career fair. Next step would be to click register, and then you can go ahead and view our employer sessions. So for example, Northwestern Mutual is attending, so you could go ahead and say, what does Northwestern Mutual do? Take a look at who they are, so their finances, and they have one recruiter attending, Melissa, and she has one-on-one sessions all day. Let's take a look at a different schedule. Like the Peace Corps in the example I used, they do have one-on-one sessions, but let's say I wanted to go to a group session. Now they're only hosting a group session from 4 to 4:30, so if you're not available then, you would have to go to an individual session instead. But you can completely build your own schedule and decide what time you're going to attend the fair instead of having to be there the whole time, which is great. And then once you've selected sessions and signed up, you can go over to your schedule, and then you'll see which sessions you've signed up for. There will be a join button to join on the video chat and all of those good things. So that's what it looks like on the Handshake side. Let's go ahead and take a look at what else you need to do in advance. So you definitely need to build out both your profiles. So it's never too late to start personal branding. The most important profile tips are going to be to have a professional profile photo and just listing everything else. So your education, your experience, your skills, really get that profile fleshed out to show that you've put some effort into it. And you need to upload your resume and set it to be viewed by the public so that anybody can see it. If you need a headshot, we're going to be offering some headshots, so just watch your email for sign up. But you can also come in anytime to our headshot studio in the Career Center. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're closed for lunch, noon to 1. But you can come in anytime and get a headshot with, we have a ring light, we have a camera, and we have a professional backdrop for you. Now, if you have any questions about building your profile, as always, you can come to Walk-In Wednesday, you can make an appointment with our Career Center staff, or you can check out our online resources. Now, if you don't have a resume or you at least need to get it updated, please do not give out your resume at a virtual fair unless you have had it reviewed by one of the professional staff here in the Career Center. It is extremely important to get a second set of eyes on your resume before you hand it out to potential internships or employers. So the most important resume tips just to keep in mind is that for collegiate entry level, 1 page only. And for formatting, consistency is key. So if you decide to go with Arial size 11 font, then use that all the way through. Don't randomly switch over to Times New Roman size 12 in the middle. Make sure that your name and contact info is clearly listed at the top with your phone number and your email. And speaking of your phone number, make sure that your voicemail box is set up and it's a professional sounding voicemail box so that if an employer called you and had to leave you a voicemail, they know who they're dealing with and it doesn't give a bad impression. And then make sure to just list all relevant experiences. You can get creative with the headings. You could make a separate heading for volunteer work, or you could include it under experience. You could make a separate heading for honors and awards, or you could include it under education. Just make sure to do whatever you think is best for your experiences. We do have some resume workshops coming up on Thursday, and those are going to be in person in the Welcome Center auditorium. But if you missed that, you can always come into the Career Center and get help from one of our staff members directly. Like I said, make sure to get your resume reviewed before the fair. Once again, come to Walk-In Wednesday, make an appointment to get some help. And make sure then you upload your resume to your Handshake or LinkedIn profiles and it's set to public view. You can also upload your resume to Google Drive and make sure that in the sharing settings you say that anyone can view the link and share that link with recruiters in order for them to access it. And it might also be good to print out a paper copy of your resume just so that you have it to easily reference during your sessions or meetings. If a recruiter asks you about your experience and suddenly you forget everything you've done in your life, you have that resume in front of you to reference. And the last step before the fair is just general preparation. So online resources for you. I have a QR code at the end of the presentation you can look at. We have a virtual career fair orientation coming up. That's on Wednesday, September 15th. We have a session at noon and a session at 7 p.m. in person in the Welcome Center auditorium. That session is just going to be more in depth, the best practices for a career fair and best tips for having a career fair virtually. So just some general items. Research the employers you'll be meeting with in advance. So this will show interest in an initiative, and it shows that you are making a more informed decision about what you're looking for. This can include also thinking of questions to ask in advance, demonstrating confidence and enthusiasm with that. And make sure to prepare your elevator pitch. Usually the first question a recruiter is going to ask is, tell me about yourself. So make sure that you have a 30 to 60 second idea of a summary about you and what you bring to the table that could be valuable to them. Have links to your Handshake profile ready, and also have a link to your resume ready if that's how you're going to share it. And then make sure that you save contact information from each recruiter you speak with because it's very important to follow up. We'll get to that later. And I have some general tech tips. These are pretty self-explanatory. Just make sure that you're connected to Wi-Fi, you're not using mobile data. I highly recommend using a laptop instead of your phone. Make sure that you're in Google Chrome or Firefox. Safari and Microsoft Edge and Internet Explorer don't work very well. And then just make sure that you test your audio and you test your video in advance. So make sure that you can be heard and you can be seen. During the fair, there is some virtual etiquette to keep in mind that's very different from going to an in-person fair. So make sure that you have a neutral background and that you try to maintain eye contact with the camera on your screen instead of looking down at your screen. It can be a little bit off-putting. And it might be, once again, it might be helpful to have that paper copy of your resume to take some notes and to reference. For audio, just make sure you're in a quiet space so that you can avoid background noises. And if you can't get a quiet space, just make sure to mute yourself when you aren't talking. And also try to refrain from clicking or typing while in those group sessions or one-on-one meetings, just because your eyes will move away and make you look distracted, as well as the sounds will indicate that you're not completely focused on the session. For your attire, make sure that you're wearing business professional clothing still, that you're speaking clearly and maintaining eye contact, kind of unnaturally looking up at that camera on your computer, just to stay personable. Be polite and respectful to employers and other students in group sessions and in your one-on-ones. And just answer questions clearly and concisely, especially in those one-on-ones. You only have 10 minutes, so you want to use your time the best you can. Now, after the fair, you need to follow up. So take notes on each session before you go to the next meeting so that you don't forget what you talked about. Make sure to send a thank you email to each recruiter's contact information you saved, or you can easily message employers directly through Handshake as well. Just make sure that you then log into Handshake to check the messages you've received and don't leave them on red, I guess, or leave them on red. Contact employers and recruiters on Handshake or LinkedIn to see their future opportunities. So especially on Handshake or LinkedIn, you can follow an employer and then you can get emailed whenever they post that internship that you're dying to apply for. And just make sure that you do everything within a timely fashion after the fair. And keep those profiles up to date with your information. This is that QR code I was talking about to reference the virtual guide, the student guide to a virtual fair. So let me show you what that looks like. So same thing I went through before, logging into Handshake, registering for the fair, signing up for sessions, build out your profile on Handshake, make sure that your resume is up to snuff, practice, practice, practice. We also have an ethics contract that states that if you sign up for one-on-one meetings or group sessions, that you should arrive to them on time. It's really unprofessional, leaves a bad impression not only on you but on us if our students are no-shows or show up late. So just make sure that you acknowledge that we have these standards for our students. And same thing, tips and tricks, some tech troubleshooting, virtual etiquette, and how to best be prepared and follow up with your employers. That's all for now. Make sure that you scan this to get your guide and keep checking your email to get updates about the latest virtual career fair updates.